Hey, gentlemen. Quick video here. Had somebody ask me in the Rhino Facebook group how I did my records, how I washed my records. So, and they were specifically asking about the Vevor, however you want to say it, Vevor. 27 degrees Celsius. It doesn't read Fahrenheit at all. 15 minutes is what I'm doing this batch. Now I do 30 minutes all the time. I'm about to show you why I'm doing 15-minute intervals here. I know some of you are going to be like, 30 minutes, that's too long. Well, mind your own business. Try to be a good Christian. It's what I'm going to do, and that's the end of that. As you can see, I do, make sure you can see, I do 2 at a time. I don't, look, you could stack 10 in here, but you're not giving it the opportunity to get the ultrasonic system to work. The science of the ultrasonics is not going to function appropriately, I would say, with more than 3 records at a time. So Wilson, why don't you do 3? Because I do 2. If you want to do 3, if you want to do 10. And the reason I'm being a little bit attitudinally, having a little bit of attitude about this, is because you can go on Facebook and into some private forums as well, like, forum boards. And there are groups on Facebook that are just about washing records. That's there. If I remember right, there is a group just for this machine. Okay. And I don't know if you can see it. You see these little flakes of wood, see those little flakes of white? Maybe you can. I hope you can. That is, man, I'm terrible camera situation. That is caulk. That is caulk. And it has, look, it's coming apart. It's coming apart, and I have to make adjustments. I have to do things to make it continue to vibrate. And I'm at about 475, maybe 500 albums at the very, very most. And I use my trusty Milwaukee. Now, you see the result of doing 15. This is another big reason I don't do but 2 albums at a time, because it gets uncontrollable. This is 15-minute increments, and this is 3 sets and 1 in there. So if I hit the go button on this, in 15 minutes, I'm going to have another 2 in here, and I might, and I'm outside, and it's a little bit humid this morning. It is drying up outside as far as humidity, but if it's raining outside, you cannot do this. You cannot do it. So these 2 records were my first 2, and they are almost dry, and it's been 3 sets plus some change, because it's 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, but it takes you a minute to change it all out. More than a minute, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. So all of this is drying. All of this is drying. That's getting ready to spin. Let's turn the fan on. I'll walk away. Let's turn this on, and in 15 minutes, those first 2 albums better be dry. That's why I don't do, that is the biggest reason why I do not do 15-minute intervals. If I just have a couple albums to do, yeah, I'll do 15, 20 minutes. This is, I can't say it. Turgiclean, okay? And if I show it to you like that, it's backwards, I think, in the film. But it's Turgiclean. It works. I have had this for 3 years. I have done about 500 records, 475 to 500 records. When I first got it, I used like I overdid it. I did like 12 or 13 drops. Now I'll do 5 to 7, whatever strikes my fancy. Okay. The guy up at in Arizona, Mike Esposito, got a record shop, broke the MoFi scandal and everything. Mike does not use any, and what's the scientific word? It's not an expectorant. That's what makes you cough. What makes you break up your mucus so you can cough when you got a cold. But it's there's a scientific word. What it does is it breaks the water tension, because I remember in my advanced biology, in my 200 biology in college, what was said about water, the guy repeated it over and over, figured out that was going to be on the test, that water has a high surface tension. And if you think about it, it really does. And a mosquito can walk on it. You put that in that water over there, a mosquito cannot walk on that, because I've seen them try, and they fall in it and die and drown. So anyway, it helps it get into grooves, all that jazz. And so yeah, I do use that, a detergent. And I just come over here and I set myself up. I got a dry. It's really just a rack on Amazon. I think they were about $20, which I think is ungodly high for what you're getting. But I bought one, and I just use it to. These are the records that are in process. Okay, and this is, I'm staging, and then I've got my vinyl storage solution. Here are the gate folds, and here are my album protectors, sleeves. Now, I'm not on this, and you may disagree with me, but on this ZZ Top box set, I'm not putting. My Dave Matthews Band box sets have taught me a little bit about, and the UHQRs. UHQRs probably taught me more about it than anything. I don't put covers on box set stuff. I used to put sleeve covers on the UHQRs and put them outside the box, so I wouldn't, because I know me, I'm lazy. I'll be like, man, I don't want to drag that box out. I don't want to deal with all that. I'll just put it in a sleeve cover and put it beside the box. But it got out of hand because I've got like 12 of them, and it just adds, just one or two, that's fine. But man, when you've got 12, it adds a lot of space, takes up a lot of space. So I've got 10 minutes left on that. I hope this makes sense. I know, look, like I said, this is a very argumentative, controversial subject. Everybody does it a little bit different. I did a video years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and dude, that's why I left the forum. I mean, they attacked me brutally, and I really didn't. If anybody's out of line, I was kind of like, well, guys, I don't do that. I do this. And man, I mean, about 8 or 10 guys jumped on me, and they took it personal. So I was like, screw this. So I got my system. Oh, let me say this real quick. Before I put them in that drying rack, I got a bottle of distilled water. Okay. And this was part of what they were arguing with me about, like vehemently. I'll come over here, as you can see this wet spot. I'll come over here, and I'll take a glove, a nitrile glove, and I will spray them off using the nitrile glove on the record hand, and I will spray them off. And there are several different methods of rinsing your records. You need to rinse them. You need to get that detergent out as best as you can. But there are some guys who go to extremes with that, using tubs and rotary, rotary systems, kind of like is on that thing. They'll set up 4 or 5 of those things, and they'll have a tub and that thing going for 30 minutes, rinsing the records, and then they'll dump the water out. They're real fastidious about that, and renew the distilled water. They're rinsing and distilled water. They're using a lot of distilled water, and distilled water is not cheap like it used to be. It is more expensive. I go through. It takes 1.5 gallons to fill that thing up, and I'll use another 0.5 gallon doing 10 records, doing the rinse. And the rinse part is really where they were on me. I was like, I don't care, it works. I'm not having a problem. If I had a problem, I assure you my OCD would not allow me to do it. I promise you. And I've just not had a problem. And it works. The crud that's in that machine, good God, the crud that'll be at the bottom of that machine. I'm not going to get near that thing. You get near it and it starts interfering with your phone and everything. In fact, I may have already gotten too near it. But anyway, that's what I do.